Hi, everyone. We decided to do another recap video from this week's Tuesday night podcast. Lots of you had comments and questions, and we couldn't get to all of them. So we wanted to take this opportunity to address some of them and get Todd's thoughts.
And I guess the biggest thing, Melissa, is everyone is seeing different things in the market, in the housing market, depending on where they live. So every market's behaving differently. Obviously, we were speaking about, our market has yet to really cool off. It has come down significantly in the overpaying, but things are still selling at list price. And in other parts of the country, we're seeing huge declines in prices, and inventory overall is rising. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's answer some of these questions that we didn't get to. And guys, if you haven't checked out our Tuesday night podcast, if you subscribe to our channel right now, hit that alert bell. If you haven't already done so, you'll be alerted when we go live Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We also post a couple other times a week. We try to keep you updated on things that are ever changing in this market.
Mm-hmm. And Travis from Real Estate Mindset did have a question, since we just talked about how things are locally so different all across the country. His question: are the offers you guys getting at or above asking price? Are there any buying incentives? So Todd, take that one on.
Yeah, so we are seeing property still selling at or above list price if the property is priced at a value that the buyers are interested in. So, obviously we're not seeing the overselling, like I just mentioned. We're not seeing escalation clauses with appraisal gap addendum saying that they are willing to pay for more than what the house would appraise for, like we have before. And I wouldn't even say that we're seeing 10 or 15% over list price as far as the top end of the offers. Melissa, what we're seeing, at our brokerage is that when a house is listed on the market, if it is priced, like I said, right, we're getting maybe one or two offers below list price. We're getting maybe one or two offers at list price, and maybe one offer slightly over list price with an escalation clause. And then basically what's happening is everybody wants inspections, and that's a good thing, right? At least we can try and stop some of the remorse that we've seen over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Lots of you had questions on timing. When is the right time to go ahead and make that decision and move forward and put an offer in? We had Vov Davis asking, should one wait for 6+ months to buy? For example, house hacking.
Yeah, here we go, right? So the big question is, where's the bottom? What are we going to expect moving forward? No one has a crystal ball, but my message has remained clear from the beginning that here locally, I think we'll see a 10 or so % adjustment from peak to trough. Here in Maryland, I think other parts of the country will be greater than 20%. I think we're already seeing that now. However, my best advice to specifically first-time buyers would be that if after you put down your down payment, including all of your closing costs, so your, whatever your loan requirement is down payment, your closing costs, transfer recordation fees, anything that's associated with the cost of moving, if doing so is going to leave you with less than 6 months of cash in the bank, should you experience a personal financial downturn, I would not buy yet. I would sit this one out, wait at least the next 3 or 4 months and see what happens with our overall economy.
Mm-hmm. Lots of you are looking for that quote unquote deal. We had Ryan Beck ask, when looking for a deal, what threshold percentage-wise increase from its pre-pandemic price would constitute a good deal?
Melissa, that is a great question. And depending on where you live and how the prices are adjusting now is going to pretty much determine that answer, right? So if you're in the Sun Belt area where we're seeing some of the largest declines, or like Phoenix, Arizona, where we're seeing, a major influx of new home construction that is really crashing and coming down, that's a hard one to kind of pinpoint. But I would say, if you look at the comps in the last 30 days, 45 days, that is going to give you an indication of pricing trends. And then really I would look at, what is the percentage of homes that have gone back to active after they've been pending, as well as the days on market. If you're really trying to find your best deal, you're going to need to go after a seller or a property that has gone through a little bit of frustration and disappointment. Because if the seller has not yet had that, and they may not, depending on how valuable or how move-in ready or how awesome that location is, based on what the current inventory is. So I mean, that's a moving target. I'm going to tell you, find a great agent in your area, in your market, that can help you determine that. And if you don't have one, reach out to us. We have an agent network all over the country. Be happy to point you in the right direction. Certainly, if you're in Maryland, we would hope to hear from you if you are not already represented.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of frustration, it's a reoccurring theme with you all in your comments and questions. We had Letitia in Sacramento, California. I make $80,000 a year and I cannot afford a house. No car payment, no large debt. This is not fair. I am a supervisor for a healthcare company.
Yeah, and very qualified. And Letitia, I mean, I'm going to, speak to you, and it's so many just like you, right? It's unfortunate. I mean, you're working for an employer in a specific town or city, and you can't afford to buy a home in that area with a great job. This is the imbalance that I'm talking about. It's what I've spoke about for the last almost 1 year. Things are out of whack. And anytime we have the market out of whack, it is going to go through a major adjustment. Either wage growth will need to increase significantly and fast, or we're going to be looking like it was in the 1980s with the largest, longest housing recession that we've seen since World War II. And what I'm talking about is the inflation rate of the 1970s was so out of control that in 1979, the Fed started to raise interest rates, and that crashed the housing market 50% over the next couple of years. And it was a almost 20-year run before, I think it was 1996, when we saw home sales top and exceed 1978.
With things being out of whack, I think we also need to mention the data maybe not being completely accurate. Charlton Zimmerman made a very good point. Tech industry workers laid off, got severance package. That is not being reported in the unemployment stats yet.
The only thing, in my opinion, that is holding this housing market up by a thread is our jobs market. And this is, putting a lot of pressure on Jay Powell, the Fed, the FOMC in general. They're the ones that had this economy in their hands right now as to whether they are going to be able to soft land or completely crash this economy by raising interest rates. In the last FOMC meeting, Powell announced that they had raised it 25 basis points. As we know, inflation is still a runaway train. It's still high, nowhere near the 2% level. And Jay Powell said in an interview after this latest release, the interest rate hike, that the jobs market and the inflation still running hot like it is, the only way to cool that down and proof that we need higher interest rates is to do just that. Increase rates even more and for longer, sustained periods of time. We have to tame the spending and these price hikes that we're experiencing that's causing consumers to go even further in debt, eliminating their cash that they have on hand and in their bank. And guys, I mean, if we don't do that, we're going to be in big trouble, financially, I believe, as a world economy. And I think even more importantly speaking is that is going to result in more job losses and ultimately really crash this housing market. And unfortunately, I think that's on the horizon in the next probably 12 to 18 months.
Is it too political to ask this Lisa question that's right in the middle? Can we predict if the next presidential election will change the course of the housing market?
Yeah, I mean, we leave politics out of the channel, and for very good reason. I think that no matter who is in charge in Washington, I think that they're going to have a lot on their hands, whether it's the current administration or a new administration. We have a lot of fixing to do, and this economy is a mess right now.
As we know, inventory, it's been the problem. It's been the problem throughout the whole pandemic. Where are people going to go? Jeff M. made a very good point following up on one of the comments you made on our show. Why would someone sell to pay for money for a smaller house? Yes, Todd, you are correct. Where are they going to go?
And this is the issue. We have, multiple issues on the inventory side, right? Number one, the pandemic taught us that, our elderly, our parents and grandparents, they don't want to be necessarily in a nursing facility where they could potentially be separated from their loved ones. So I think a lot of people since the pandemic are making aging in place preparations, and that is, that they'll stay at home as they age. And, I think that we're going to see multi-generational housing come back simply because the younger generation can't afford housing, and they're going to move in and kind of take over mom and dad's place maybe, and, and help them, assist them. But with that being said, we have the other side of it, that for the last 20 years, we've had interest rates at or below, 4% or, almost 20 years. And all of these people that had higher interest rates refinanced in the last couple of years. So the question is, how are they going to sell if they don't need to? Because they're going to pay a lot more for a lot less house. And, with interest rates being, back to normal range, I think over the last, 50 years, even longer, 7.7%, I think was our average 30-year mortgage rate. If you take everything together in consideration. And so even though we're not that out of whack with our 30-year mortgage rates, we are compared to where we've been, and we are compared to, the lack of wage growth and the now price of home. So huge disconnect here. We're going to see a major correction.
So I hope that gives you a better understanding of where we're going, what we're doing, and maybe what there is going to be in the future. Only time will tell. Todd, thank you so much for chiming in and giving us your thoughts.
And they're only my opinions. No one has a crystal ball. We're all in this together. But I can tell you, I've been serving the housing industry in one way or another since 1989. So that's a pretty long time. And, I've seen some ups and downs. And though I think it's going to get tough, and for those that aren't financially prepared, so it'll be tougher for some more than others. And then for ones that are financially prepared and have been sitting on the sidelines, if you keep saving, keep preparing, as difficult as that may be, I think that you'll be able to get those deals that you've been hoping for, or at least be able to afford to buy a home. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. And don't forget, check us out on Tuesday night and share us with your friends if you think someone could benefit, maybe somebody that's looking to buy a house. Maybe they're stressed out. Maybe they have fear of missing out. Maybe they just need to know that it's okay to sit this one out for the time being. Share this. The link is below.
Thank you so much for all your comments and questions. We really enjoy reading them. We really like hearing what's going on in your neck of the woods too. So please keep that coming, and we'll keep on staying on top of things as best as we can.
And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. It'll let Melissa and I know that you did. And as I previously said, if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button and smash the alert bell. You'll know every time we upload content. See you next time.
See you next time.
Sachs Realty, Maryland broker number 607720, office number 443-318-4514, equal housing opportunity.